I learned a British accent, specifically the RP accent, without having to move abroad from Kenya. That obviously came with a lot of challenges along the way. I'm here to spill them and share a few ways to overcome them. Hello there, if you're new here, I'm Abdurrahman, a medical student at Nairobi University here in Kenya. The first challenge that I had to overcome was choosing the accent. Should I go with the American accents or the British accents? The reason why this came up is because American accents are so widespread, and this is due to the influence of the United States around the world and also the soft power that America has through its media. I had to weigh my options and see the pros and cons. Eventually, it boiled down to two things: practicality and preference. For preference, I have no problem whatsoever with both accents. But when it comes to practicality, I live in Kenya, and Kenya has a relationship with the UK. And even though it's not the greatest, but the influence of the UK remains very, very high in Kenya, in the education system, in pretty much everything in Kenya. It's worth noting that there is this wave of Americanization going on around the world. Even in Kenya and the UK, the same thing is happening. There are bits of American standard pronunciation which is being incorporated into the standard British English. Like, for example, the word schedule, which was previously schedule in the mainstream British standard pronunciation, it suddenly shifting towards schedule, right? You still might hear the word schedule in some media organizations, old media organizations like the BBC and the likes. And Elliot talked about it in one of his videos. I think he better explains it. Before going to the second challenge, I want to thank my audience who gave me 100 subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider doing so. It helps me a lot and it helps the channel. Alright, the second challenge that you have to deal with, and I had to deal with, is lack of native speakers to practice with. This should be pretty obvious because you live in a geographically different place from the people who speak this language as their mother tongue. But the good news is you can easily get around this by simply immersing yourself into the language. And I talked about this in one of my videos. Through immersion and shadowing, you have one less challenge to worry about. The third challenge that I had to overcome, and you certainly have to overcome, is the local accents disrupting your learning. The thing is, you have to immerse yourself, and that means you have to distance yourself from your local accents in order to perfect the accent that you want to learn. I'm not saying that you should look down upon your accent. No, not really. I'm just sharing ways to reduce your local accent and try to adopt a more universal accent. That's all I'm trying to do. That technique of immersion, I can't stress it enough. It is absolutely vital in your accent acquisition. Another challenge is the ego that comes along with learning a new accent. For example, there's this association of certain accents with prestige and class and decorum and stuff like that. And I felt that a bit. And that is a bit true because certain accents are used exclusively by the royals and by people with power and prestige in the society. What is not good about this ego is that it makes you look down upon your people and people who speak different accents than yours, and that interferes with your communication. Language is nothing but a tool, and an accent is nothing but to show that you come from a certain region, and you may want to learn an accent because you want to acquire this universally understood accent, that is probably drawing you to it. Language is nothing but a tool of communication, and when you start seeing people differently because they speak this way when they're using this language, then there is something wrong with you. You are condescending. So to get around this challenge, change your mindset. Language is nothing but a tool of communication. And then lastly, the last challenge that I had to overcome, and you probably need to overcome, is motivation. Sometimes you lose motivation and you forget the goal. Why do you want to learn the British accent, for example? For me, I wanted to acquire the modern RP accent because of 3 reasons. So number one, I wanted to acquire this because I wanted to ace my pronunciation tests in my high school. And also another reason that made me want to acquire this accent is to be universally understood by people from different parts of the world, because to be honest, the standard British accent and the standard American accents are the widely understood accents in the world. And since I am more of a globalist than I am a nationalist, and I care about global affairs, I wanted to acquire this accent because, it makes you feel part of the global community. And lastly was to get rid of my inconsistencies with pronunciation. So I wanted a standard accent that has references and it's universally understood. So remembering the goal for this challenge is what will make you get through it. And since you are on YouTube, you might want to check out this video where I explain why you should use YouTube over other platforms to learn an accent or a language. Peace.